Hi guys, it's ShishKebabber1 coming right back at you with an all-new Boom Beach video. Well, this one's a little different. This is all about Season 33, Bite the Bullet. Oh, those dates are incorrect. I got the wrong version of this thing, but it's alright. This is the Tech Tree Planner, if you've never seen it, produced by OP Destroy, and I did the Excel charts for the little graphs on the top. If you didn't know, whoop-de-doo. You can find all that on his Telegram site, or I think we've uploaded it to Skull Crushers. It's also on Sugar Ships, and it's also on Ship of the Plan. Anyway, the season is here. We see it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, okay, well, what to say? Well, I guess, we see our stat totals. Let's just start with that at the bottom. Everything looks pretty well mixed. 150 GBE, 150 TD, 100 on the troop health, 150 on the DBD, and 100 on the building health. So, looking at numbers, this season looks a little bit different than the last couple that we played, The last season was basically no building health. The season before that was a ton of building health. This is a mix. Okay, that's cool. That's different. I mean, in the respect of what we've just seen recently. But let's actually get into the details. Because it's obviously, well, it's not going to be that different, guys. You know what, long story short, it's the same darn season as last season. And I'll explain that shortly, but it's all about strategy. I mean, effectively, right? It's called Barrage and Artillery, okay? But, so anyway, it's called Bite the Bullet because we have Bullet. I'm getting ahead of myself. But, so, yeah, that's cool, okay? I like how in last season they featured Brick. And pretty much I played her all season. This season looks like we're featuring Bullet. And the season 31, the one I produced or whatever, that season was kind of featuring Sparky. I like how heroes get features in a season, sort of. It rotates them in and out. Yeah, okay, well, what do we see? We see a rabbit hole, right, in 2ER. Obviously, there's Barrage in 2ER, which is just insane because the Barrage, I mean, that'll be the total meta at 2ER. We'll just be like, can I Barrage both your ERs out, bro? What to say? Well, obviously, yes, you can. At 2ER, the ERs that have the same health as 3ER, and that's 20,000 health, okay? So you just need to crank out 40,000 damage with your Barrage against the 2ERs. You just need rank 4 Barrage to do that. You just need 2 Barrage on each ER. The first two will cost you 26 GBE, that's 10 plus 16, and then the second two is 22 plus 28, which is 30, for a grand total of 56 GBE. So, max gunboat, of course, is 52 GBE, so you will need to farm a couple of buildings in order to make that happen. Or will you? Because you also get 5 GBE back. It's awfully close, ladies and gentlemen. The point is, it's bad, okay? The point is, I wouldn't want to be there for very long. But if you're non-IT, you're going to love it, because you have no problems getting your, your chests. So, I mean, in this respect, it's good, I guess. Is it healthy for the game? Absolutely not. Have they learned from the mistakes of the past? I don't think so. But have we? Oh, we have. And that's why charting the path out in this tree is so freaking easy. I mean, the name of the game is Rush to Barrage, Rush to Artillery, and then get to the first building health, okay? Long story short, there it is in a nutshell. Now, how we actually do that can vary depending on a few different circumstances and a few different decisions that the player might want to make on their own. A lot of it, I'll leave the really fine details to you guys. Again, download this this planner and figure out what your starting tech is, and figure out exactly what your keys and your tokens are. Remember, this does not include the 4 chests. And then just figure out what you need to upgrade, what you think is important, right? Because this is all going to get down to token management, all right? And here's the first big hint, I'll tell you right now. I already did, but I'll be very more clear about it. Just take Barrage to tick 4, okay? You're not going to be able to really afford to take it to tick 5 right away. I mean, you could, but you're going to sacrifice so many other things, it would be a huge mistake to max Barrage early. But tick 4, a lot of value. Definitely want to do that, okay? Part of the reason is because, like I said, if you're going to take the strategy of just beelining it straight to Artillery, which means, coming up, you gotta get your Flare, you get your Barrage, you get into 3ER, Boom Mine, Troop Damage, Mortar, Zuka, Medkit, and then straight into 4ER. and then comes bombardier and artillery. So the point is, when you get to artillery, you're gonna want to have that maxed. Okay, so this is where it gets really tricky, and you want to make sure you'll have enough tokens to max your artillery when you get there, because you'll rule the roost, man. Rank 4 barrage, max artillery. There's a GBE node that's just south of the mortars here. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that right away because it's better to get to artillery than GBE. But odds are, once we get to artillery, we're probably looking back at this GBE node. Keep in mind, though, we're still going to be majorly token starved when we get here. So we probably won't even be able to, like, upgrade it much, if any. But, every little bit's going to help. Because the name of the game is going to be... at this point, it's going to be 4 ER, and we're going to be using barrage and artillery, right? You're going to want to use 1 barrage and 3 artillery? Yeah, 30,000 health. No. You're going to want to use 2 barrage and 2 artillery. That's going to be the way to do it at 4 ER. And you'll be able to take out the... you'll be able to take out an ER, right? You'll probably be able to take out 2. So you'll have to clear 2 and take 2. So keep all that in mind, guys, like when you're deciding what troops you want to use to do that and how you're going to get there. Obviously, we have bombardiers. I have a strong inclination to think that you might be using those. The other thing to mention, of course, is that we start with frickin' rifles. So rifle bombardier, huge. You'll be using it. And of course, we have bullet. Now, here's like the big, like, kind of tip I can maybe give you. Maybe it's a mistake. I don't know. Okay, but it's something you need to consider, which maybe you didn't even think about. Don't max bullet. In fact, don't even... It's not that we're not maxing him. Don't even upgrade him initially. The reason I say... I know, it seems like, what? What are you saying? Because it gets back to the whole token crunch, guys. Do your calculations. Figure out what you need to spend tokens on. Figure out what you think you're going to be attacking with. And just make sure you can get to barrage and artillery. If you do that, you're doing just fine. And let me tell you, bullet, in my calculus, is expendable, at least early on. Because we're going to have max rifles. Oh, I know, they might have mines, whatever. I don't care. Just stagger your rifles, send them in there. Your rifles, ladies and gentlemen, do the majority of your DPS. You don't even necessarily need bombardiers right away, okay? Just keep all that in mind as you're budgeting. And find the total that makes the most sense for you. You just need to make sure that you hit your 2 tech amounts as well in your planning. That you hit the tech amount of 300 in order to unlock the 30R. And you need to make sure you hit the tech amount of 600 before you can unlock the 4th ER. Because there's a lot of not upgrading nodes. In terms of value, probably one of your best value nodes is, of course, the boom mine when you're looking at that. And if you guys don't know how to calculate tech, real quick crash course in that. Normal nodes in a tree, like basically I'm not talking about starting nodes, but any node just in a tree, when you unlock it, that's 5, okay? You get 5 tech on an unlock, and then each subsequent rank that you upgrade is a subsequent 5 more tech. So what I mean is, it's 5 at rank 1, and then you get an additional 5 plus 5, which is 10, at rank 2, which is 15 total. So when you're at rank 2 of anything, that's 15 tech. 5 from rank 1, 10 from rank 2, and it just keeps going plus 5 like that, right? So when you're at rank 3, that's plus 15, okay? Or that's 30 tech total. When you're at rank 4, that's plus 20, making it 50 tech total. And when you're at rank 5, that's plus 25, making it 75 tech total. So each max node is worth 75. Now, the caveat to that is, like I said, these starting nodes, okay? The ones that are already unlocked. Well, if they're unlocked, we don't get that 5 tech from their automatic unlocking. So these nodes, when they're maxed, can only have a maximum of 70. And that's the nodes of the gunboat, landing craft, machine gun, rifleman, cannon, and bullet. So just keep that in mind, too, when you're doing your calculations. But that's the name of the game. Make sure you give yourself enough tech to unlock 30R. Make sure you give yourself enough tech to unlock 4th ER. And then make sure you have enough tokens for rank 4 barrage. And then max artillery. This is the path I'll be taking, more or less. And I probably will have a weak bullet to start. I mean, I will be upgrading them as soon as it makes sense. But you got, when you're weighing things out, you got to think, what's more important? Bullet or barrage and artillery, peanut butter and jelly. It's barrage and artillery. So this is what I mean, like, this season really, in my mind, plays out a lot like last season's. The push points are very, very similar. I mean, just go back and look at the videos I did, you know. First we unlocked artillery, then we unlocked barrage. Well, this is the opposite order. Now it's barrage and artillery, but it's the same idea. The first building health doesn't come over here till midway into 5ER. So that's still a pretty significant chunk of the season. Like, let's say the first half of the season, we are not going to have building health. So it's just, you know, it's a major barrage and artillery fest. But it's okay, we recognize it, and we're going to get there. And the beautiful part about this is, I don't know if it's beautiful or ugly, but in order to get there, we just tech ride. Normally, when you do something like pick up barrage and artillery, one or the other, or both, these are usually detours from a tech ride. But no, this season, boom, they're directly in the path of the tech ride. Which, well, I mean, it just, I don't know why you'd do anything else, okay? So, common pitfalls, mistakes people might make early on. Number one mistake would be this rabbit hole, okay, in 2ER. Like, I mean, what's so good in this rabbit hole? Okay, I mean, we got shock launchers and we have shock bombs. But is it really worth halting all your progress towards barrage, artillery, and then ultimately this first building health just to go down that rabbit hole? I mean, when you only have to kill a few defenses and maybe 1 or 2 ERs, that just depends if you're at 2ER, 3ER, 4ER, whatever. But you don't have to kill a lot of stuff, guys, is the point. In order to, these are going to be fast hits. Like, how much is a shock launcher really going to help? Not enough. How much is a shock bomb going to help your hit? Probably not enough. Now, again, that's if you're thinking what I'm thinking, to use barrage and artillery. We have warriors in 3ER. I think this is another mistake some people might be enticed to make. Why? I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to go down there. I mean, even if this proto, which is next to the warriors, was like better, there'd be more of a reason to go down there. But then again, you don't have to because it's connected to the, med kit. So don't worry about it. Anyway, I would see that as a huge mistake if you picked up warriors this season. Same reasons as before. It's too much of a detour from the, well, at this point, from artillery. And I think, you know, who cares? They're going to be good in 3, probably. Like, they will probably do well with barrage because they'll just kill stuff faster, so they'll get GBE faster. You know? They'll rule the roost at 3, in fact. Perhaps. I don't even know. I haven't looked at it that closely because I've honestly just been thinking going straight to 4. But I think they probably could rule the roost in 3. But the problem is, why do you want to waste time in 3 when you can just go to 4, get bombardiers, and get artillery, okay? And now that we've been talking so much about 3, 4, and a little bit about 5, why don't we just take a look at those decks? Okay, well, we'll start with the 2. I mean, I don't think a lot of you guys are going to be spending time in 2ER, but there it is. You know, whatever. There's not a lot to it. Everything's accessible with a 2/3 ramp from the right. And then here we go with 3ER. We've got a 1/3 ramp from the right, which is centrally located, a bit more spread out with the right side of the deck opening up more. Name of the game in 3ER, especially once Barrage comes online, well, which will be instantly because it's already online. So basically right away, you're going to want to cluster all 3 of your ERs together because you're going to force your opponent, they're going to need to get 1 of your ERs, okay? And they'll just BART the other 2, or barrage the other 2. So you'll basically want all 3 clustered together, probably in the back, but not too tight, because, you know, you don't want the splash from one barrage to hit the other one, but you get the idea. Cluster them up, boom, there you go. There's your 3 ER meta. Warriors probably ruling the roost in 3, but why be king of 3 when you can be the king of 4, all right? So here's 4 ER. Now, defensively, 4 ER is even worse than 3. We see we have a 1/3 ramp on the top section of the right axis. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. It's a smaller ramp that's up on the top portion of the right side of the boat. And then, of course, we've got the front ramp of the boat wide open. We see there's not very much deck supporting the front of the ramp, so strategically, there's not a lot that can really be done there. There are 2 access points, though. Particularly, you know, this access point on the right side of the front ramp is a good location, depending on where they put defenses. And then, of course, this ramp is deep in the back. Bottom line, 4ER, not very good to defend, all right? 4ER is going to be kind of split hits, base racing, whatever. I'm not quite sure what the defensive meta might look like here, but again, the name of the game is going to be Take 2, Bark 2. Possibly Take 1, Bark 3 if you're really crazy and you got the GBE. But that'll come a little bit later. Initially, it's definitely not that. Initially, it's Take 2, Bark 2. It's quick hits, right? It's not very well defendable. So, obviously, if we're going to do stuff like skip to get into 4ER, let's go back to the tree real quick. We're going to skip a lot of junk to come in here. At some point, you got to ask yourself, when are we going to go back, right? And we're kind of going to get to this. Like, when are we going to go back to backfill? I'll tell you what, looking at 4ER, probably not the best idea because it's not a very defensive deck. Why are we going to put more defenses on a deck that's not very easy to defend? Let's take a look at 5ER. Oh, here we go. This is our winner, all right? This is probably the best deck defensively of the whole season. We see the front ramp is still open, but the right side axis is a 1/3 near the bottom, okay? Or the front of the boat, whatever you want to say, right? But it's not the back. That means this portion of the deck right here in the back is pretty well protected. And we'll also be receiving building health at 5ER. I have a feeling at 5ER is the time to start looking to backfill a bit. The next major push point after that building health, there's probably two. What I was about to say was just the final building health, which is all the way at the end. You see it up here, whoops, at the top of my screen here for 36 keys. That's obviously nice. We don't want to let our eyes off the prize because we do want to get there too, guys. We want to get there quickly as well. And of course, there's the heavy choppers right before that. But all these goodies come in 7ER. So basically, we're going to want to backfill enough, probably in 5, to make sure that we're strong enough and competitive enough to move forward and just basically try to get to 7. Without getting into too many details, we'll change plans accordingly as we go through it. But that's the gist for the whole season, and it's pretty much going to play out like that. And it's pretty darn similar to what we did last season. If we get to building health, this final building health, soon, like sooner than most people, it'll give us that nice tech advantage at the end of the season, which will allow us to park early and hopefully within the top 500 once again. The importance of this building health, it's not quite as much as last season, because this one's the second one on the tree, right? So we're already at 50%, and this just gives us another 50%. So the relative difference isn't as big or as profound as going from nothing to 50%, right? Well, technically speaking, when you have no bonuses to stats, all your stats are at 100. So last season, we were effectively at 100 building health, if you just total it, and then we got another 50% at the end, right? So that was a 50% increase in health. Duh, right? But in this case, we'll be at 150 health already, and then we're adding another 50 to that, you see? So that's only a 33% increase. This is what I mean by it's not as profound as it is last season. But it's still important. Don't get me wrong. You're going to want to get there. You don't want to delay. It's going to be nice. Get there early, and park. Anyway, what else? We got an interesting node in this tree, similar to the one that we threw into season 31, although they took one of the rocket launchers away from us. But interestingly enough, though, in terms of value, that does put more value on the shock launcher. So anyway, that's probably a good choice here. Hadn't thought that far ahead, but intrinsically speaking, I think the shock launcher has a lot of value on this node. Yeah, I don't want to take too much time. It's a different format, and I want to get this out as quick as possible, too. Probably not a whole lot of editing in this video. Oh, yeah, I want to hit all the, salient points. I'm sure I'll probably miss a couple, because I'm going fast here. No notes. I've just been looking at it here recently. It's this boom cannon. See? This boom cannon comes really late into 6ER. This is definitely something worth talking about. It might potentially maybe open the door up for rocket chopper hits, but I just think that the barrage and artillery meta is so strong that we're just going to be clearing with the bombardiers and using any excess GBE to go to barrage and artillery If we're using rocket choppers, I'd have a hard time seeing how they compete well in the barrage and artillery meta because they take GBE to support. Not only that, but you kind of need to go down that rabbit hole for the shock bomb if you're going to make it work. But it's interesting, right? That there's no boom cannons, or the boom cannons come really late. This could also mean that mechs have some strength this season. Simply because, there's nothing out there that's really going to kill them all that fast. But then again, they're not very fast either. So would I go for mechs? No. But, I'm just trying to think of the implications of having boom cannons so late. Well, clearly heavies, right? And they are in here. Here we go. Yeah, they're right before Kavan here, before 5ER. Now, this also means heavies can do better, And we could definitely see some heavy rushing occurring, but again, I have a hard time seeing how heavy rush occurs after bombardiers and barrage and artillery. So, I think this season, heavies will be pretty muted overall. With the exception that they will survive longer because there's not any boom cannons out there. So if you do have heavies in your troop loadout, then, they'll probably live longer this season until the boom cannons come, I guess. But that was definitely something different, right? That we really haven't seen in other seasons. Critters are back. I believe all of our GBE abilities are here. Last season we didn't have critters. What else? I feel like I'm missing something. Something to note, I guess, of course, well, we've got Seekers in this season, and you see them above 5ER. But the thing I was going to note is that we all get shock mines in 4 ER before 5. That in and of itself speaks bad things for Seekers. I tend to think it's probably not a very good Seeker season. And then if you also look where they're located on the tree, that's one heck of a detour. Like, they buried them. Like, they really didn't like the Seekers this season for some reason. So they buried them. They put them in timeout. And everyone's already got shock mines before you get there. So it doesn't look very strong for Seekers. I mean, what do we see, guys? Well, I see Rifle Bombardier. In fact, Rifle Bombardier could be pretty strong. Maybe till people get more rocket launchers and or the 150 DBD comes online. I could see people, we kind of have no choice. I could see people using Rifle Bombardier all the way till we get Heavy Chopper. We're pretty much going to have to. Some people might be using Heavy Bombardier. But, your other options would be Mech Bombardier. Or that's it, pretty much. Yeah. So that's going to be a little interesting. There's a bit of a stretch where, we have a meat shield. The problem is we just don't want to go down for the heavies because it's out of our way. But I was going to say there's a bit of a stretch where you don't have a meat shield, and I think the good players can still pull it off with rifles and bombardiers. Of course, you'll have bullet too. Yeah, I think that's it. You're just playing rifle bombardier all the way till heavy chopper. As far as protos, let's just take a quick look at them, talk about them, and then put this all to bed. Let's see. Well, we just want to talk about protos. So the first proto multi-node is here. Damage Amp 1, Boom Surprise 1, Flotsam 1, Yawn. Probably the Damage Amp is the choice here. Depending on base layout and design, though, you might pull off something tricky with the Flotsam. But a Flotsam 1 is just, relatively speaking, pretty low damage. But it's all about trying to trick the opponent with the area of effect explosion or forcing them to flare and making them waste time. So keep it in mind. It might have some viability, but it has to be used appropriately with the right kind of layout. In general, I'd say that's the Damage Amp node. Sorry, Boom Surprise, you get no love. Is that really a surprise? Moving along. I'll just mention this node real quick. I do like this node. It's not a proto node, but where you get the 2 flamers or the 2 mortars, or you could get 5 boom mines, but I don't know why you would. I just like it. I like the fact that we got 2 flames or 2 mortars. A lot of times when they give us nodes like that, it's just one option that has 2, but the fact that there's two options that have two is really nice, because that actually makes it like an option, something to think about, you know. And for instance, if and when I pick up this node, I'll probably be running the mortars, you know, because we have bombardiers everywhere. But I like the options there. That's a good node. Anyway, this multi-node right here, this proto multi-node, we've got the Shock Blaster 2, Laser Beam 2, and Grappler 2. 2 out of the 3 are good choices. That would be the Shock Blaster and Grappler. Lasers never do well in warships, guys. They just never do. And even when they should have the damage to like one-shot troops, they never do for some reason. So or they rarely do, I should say. So I would just avoid lasers like the plague in warships, generally speaking, and you'll be just fine. Now, whether or not you use Shock Blaster or Grappler, that's up to you. But keep in mind that, well, you know, Bullet doesn't like either one of those, and everyone's gonna have Bullet. So it depends. It depends. How do you want to mess with Bullet? You want to, you know, ping him with some shock blasts, take off some of his health, or just grapple him around a bit? I don't know. Moving right along. Hey, we've got our first Sky Shield in 5ER. This is definitely a Sky Shield node. Yeah, there's a Shock Blaster too, but Sky Shield is the king in warships, if you haven't figured that out. So this is definitely a Sky Shield node. There's a Hot Pot too, if you feel so inclined, but I wouldn't. Yeah, then comes that little special node we were talking about. I'm inclined to think shocks are the way to go. But again, depends on base layouts. At that point, the 150 DBD is available, so the extra rocket could be pretty nice too. Anyway, something to think about when you get there. Then we got another multi-node down here in 6ER, and you'll see that it's another Sky Shield. Odds are we'll probably get that, plus the other two choices just really aren't that good. I mean, the CMO's okay, Microwaver, you know, they're both 3s, which is nice. But in general, not really the best defenses for warships as a whole. It's possible that you'll turn that one into a Sky Shield, then come back, switch this Sky Shield to the Shock Blaster 2. And if you did that, it would make sense to make this node the Grappler. So perhaps this is the Grappler node. Perhaps. And moving right along in 7ER, we get our last multi-node, which is a Microwaver 3, Doom Cannon 3, or a CMO 3. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is your Doom Cannon node. Yeah, it's things like this that I've always thought were very, like, you know, not compelling. Like, where's the decision in this? I mean, really, guys? Obviously we're picking Doom Cannon. I mean, hello, what's right below it? Heavy Chopper. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just an obvious choice. In fact, so many of these are. So let's go back and do a quick refresher so I can save you all some diamonds this season. All right. This node right here is the Grappler node. Yeah. This one is, well, it's going to, okay, this one you might have to spend a little bit of diamonds on. Initially Sky Shield, but then later Shock Blaster. You would just be a fool not to make it a Sky Shield, at least initially. But then when you get this Sky Shield, odds are it's probably better to make this one a Shock Blaster. Or maybe just both Sky Shields. I don't know. But anyway, bottom line, this final one here is Doom Cannon. Overall, that's not a lot of protos, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5. Yeah, I forgot about the one in the start. Which, that's the damage amp node. Yeah, I guess that's a decent amount of protos. It seems a little bit weak on the proto side. But I think that's maybe also why they gave us that extra rocket. Yeah, the only other thing we didn't mention was rocket launchers. When to get them and why. You know, I don't know. I don't know when to get them. I wouldn't even consider it till at least 5ER. We'll have a much better feel for how things are playing out. Then again, remember 5ER has the nice deck. That's when we might start deciding to fill out. But we have to weigh the advantages of going for the rocket launchers compared against the advantages of just progressing forward. Like, we would be in 5ER and we'd be looking to go to 6, you know? And of course, ultimately 7. We'll know better when we get there. They will be strong this season, guys. No doubt about it. They will be strong, but the problem is, early on, you got to make one decision or the other. Again, it goes back to tokens. You're either going to go barrage artillery, or I guess you could go rocket launchers. But, yeah, you know, come on, barrage artillery. So it's a no-brainer for me for quite a while that I won't even have the tokens to invest in it, so I'm not worried about it. I won't even think about it if I'm in 5ER. I can't. It wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't be able to afford it. So it's nothing that I would even consider when you're looking at this path. And I mean, clearly barrage and artillery is better, right? Those rockets aren't going to stop me from getting a couple ERs. Like, they shouldn't. Famous last words, right? But I don't think they will. Plus, we got mechs, guys. We'll be fine. But anyway, I think we'll wrap it up right there. Hope you have a super fantastic, awesome rest of your day. And remember, like always, be kind to others. Because if you're not, you're just being mean, and mean people suck.